So welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm so thrilled to be able to have this amazing panel of women that are going to really be able to help you. We're going to talk a little bit about health and hustle and what it's like to be able to start your business and what are some tips for remaining sane, because we all know that this entrepreneur journey can be a little bit daunting, but how do we need to take care of ourselves first? So with that, we're just going to do some introductions and allow them to give a little bit of a tip of what they have faced as they have done their journey as becoming entrepreneurs. And then we're going to open it up to questions. And this is going to be an open panel. This is about you. What do you need to hear? What would you like to know to be able to help you on your journey? So I'm just looking to my right and I'm seeing Emily. Emily, could you introduce yourself and just give a little tip about what helped you on your journey?
Absolutely. So my name is Emily Gozy. I am a registered dietitian with my business Nourished with Emily. I help busy professionals feel confident in their skin and in the kitchen through nutrition counseling, education, and support. I started my business now 6 years ago. It was January 2020, 2019. And at that time, I was so in, and I'm still very motivated, but so motivated at the time that I found that in the process of building my business and getting the support and resources, that I was losing touch with myself and my own habits and routines, where I would be skipping workouts. I was working a full time job, and this was my side hustle, and I would come home and work from 5 to 10 o'clock at night. So throughout that time, I wasn't having regular meals, which as a registered dietitian, you're probably like, aren't you supposed to be like the poster child for regular meals? But I really neglected those healthy habits. And so if there's any tip that I want to share, it's where no matter where you are in your business, it's trying to stay on top of and stay in touch of filling up your cup first and making sure that you are staying active or making the meals or just having those boundaries around, like, I don't need to be working at 10 o'clock at night. There's nothing that pressing that has to be done at 10 o'clock at night when I could probably be going to bed or connecting with my husband or anything else that's going on. So listening to yourself and kind of walking the walk too of, like, if I want to have this healthy boundaries and be excited about my work versus burnt out because I'm working all hours of the day, keeping those boundaries and really remembering to fill up our own cups.
Oh, great. Emily, thank you. And one of the things, ladies, online and on Facebook, if you have a question, this is an open panel, this is for you that you'd like to ask, please put it in the chat and we'll look at it and we'll answer those questions. Miss Ebony Unique.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ebony Unique. I recently just changed my last name, so this is one of the newer times that I'm introducing myself with my new last name. So thanks for having me. I am the founder and owner of Unique Consults, and I work with businesses and people to do all things consulting, whether it's business consulting or I like to refer to it as like life consulting because lifing is hard and having a little help is always something that we all need. I started Unique Consults June of 2023, so it's been almost, well, a year and a half, right? So it's been a year and a half, and I think that when I started my business, I just did it. Like I took a huge leap of faith. I didn't have like clients lined up or anything like that necessarily. I was just like, I'm not doing this 9 to 5 anymore. And the first things that I did that really I feel like helped me to stay afloat and not be discouraged or scared was I just immediately started connecting with people. Like I reached out to people who I knew were entrepreneurs. I signed up for things at the Wise. I went to networking events. I shared ideas out loud with like all of my friends and got feedback. So I just like immediately surrounded myself with support because I know my personality, and that's like one of the biggest things that I struggle with as an entrepreneur sometimes is having people around me and being able to collaborate and bounce things off of and with people. So that I think is probably my biggest piece of advice is like find your people, that are going to keep you in line, keep you in check, be honest with you, cheer you on, and also be like, maybe pump the brakes before you before you do that. Let's think about it out loud. So that would be my tidbit. Yeah.
Surrounding yourself with the tribe. Wonderful. And you know, Ebony, you've changed your name, and so did Emily. She changed her name too recently. So and Allison too.
Yeah.
Look at us.
So
Big old rebrand.
rebrand, rename. So wow, cool. I love that theme too. There's always a theme. So Allison, tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and a tip that you found as you were launching your company.
Definitely. I'm Allison Graff, and I always introduce myself as your mindful health coach because my purpose is to help everyone figure out their own health journey, not what everybody else tells us, but what we know that we need, and following our own intuition. I really specialize in health and wellness that is presented through the lens of mindfulness. So a lot about what Emily was saying, what we're putting into our body, what we're consuming with other people's energies, what feels good to us versus what feels forced. And my journey really relates to my own health. That when I started my company, it was solely yoga, and it was going where yoga was needed. I've never wanted a brick and mortar. So I created a service where I would go to wherever people wanted a yoga class and would help them with it. But I think my tip is making sure that your business is flexible to support the life that you want to live. Because when I left my marriage, and when COVID hit, and when I had a stroke, my plan for my business completely needed to change. But instead of giving up on the fact that this was something that was good for me, I shifted to what I could do, and I really focused towards mindfulness. It helped me personally. It was good for me personally to do the work that I was trained to do for others. So I started off as a yoga teacher. I became certified in teaching mindfulness. I then was frustrated in my own health struggles because I went to my doctors, I went to my cardiologist, and I went to my neurosurgeon, and I said, why am I so sick? And nobody was interested in anything. And so at that moment, it became my purpose to figure out what was good for me. Not what a magazine was going to tell me, not what an Instagram post is going to tell me, what is good for me. And I am very passionate helping what I call stressed out superfolk who are trying to do all the things for all the people to get all of the benefits, actually figure out what they need and take it one breath at a time. This is what I need right now. I need to focus on, my physical health, what I'm eating, right? Okay, so we set that course and we see what that brings up. We see what's related to eating. I just said to Emily before we started this call, part of my job is getting my client ready for her, because food is one of the most emotionally charged and connected, integrated health that we can get. So at that point, I became an integrated health coach, which is basically life medicine. How is my life making me healthier, or how is it making me not healthier? And from all of that training, I came to understand what I was through working with wives, through just kind of sitting down and talking and sharing and getting dirty and getting frustrated, but understanding that I always have the answers within, and understanding that that is my best coach, and that is my best guide, and that is my best certification, is staying connected to me Why am I doing this business? Who am I doing it for? And, you know, I always thought I was doing this for everyone, but working through the programs that Wise offers, honestly, it helped me figure out I don't need everybody to like me. I need to do good work for me. I need to take it at a pace that's good for me. I need to challenge myself, but being aware of what I need. I just finished treatment for breast cancer, but I also had my biggest year in 2024. So I like my bulletin board or my flag is if you want to do it, you'll figure out a way to do it. That your health, you know, shouldn't be your enemy, that you should work with her. I think I can say her to everyone, but being able to, you know, just be honest with yourself and follow your path.
You
That
know,
was the short answer.
what's that?
That was the short answer.
That's okay. That's all right. I know we can go on, but one of the things that was a theme as you guys were talking, Emily, you talked a little bit about listening to yourself. Ebony, you talked about you know, finding your tribe of people. And Allison, you did the same thing, finding your purpose and finding the answer from within yourself. So let me ask you this question. How do you keep that as a reminder to yourself every day to be able to remain healthy as you're doing this hustling of trying to get your business off the ground? How do you, is there a daily routine you do, or what type of mindset do you set for yourself every day?
I mean, I 100% agree with Allison. Like mindfulness and the awareness piece is it's so crucial. Like you have to be able to listen to your body and tell you, like have your body guide you what those next steps are. If we're on that head down focus going 1,000 miles a minute, we're going to miss things. And we could, like, fortunately, Allison is so mindful about that. And she's on top of things and she's going to her doctor's appointments and advocating for herself, where she was able to go through treatment where it's not as severe as it could be because she's mindful and aware. You know, Ebony is so aware of making sure that she's around the people that fill her up, but bring the light too, and like making sure you're surrounding yourself and listening and having that mindfulness piece of, is this helping me move forward with being in this audience or being in this group? And with the nutrition piece, our bodies don't lie to us. Like if we're feeling those hunger and fullness cues, that means it is time to probably take a break and have a snack if you're feeling hungry. We're not getting an award for skipping meals or for saying like, I'll get to it in an hour. But there's so many things around us where I think it does come back to that mindfulness and that listening.
Mm-hmm. Mindfulness, listening. What else, ladies?
I'd love to piggyback on Emily's response. Mindfulness has literally saved my life. It's repaired my health. It's helped me with mental health. And being present is really the definition of mindfulness, right? So it doesn't need to be obscure. It's anytime your feet and your brain are in the same place, right? Right now, I am present. I am focused on this call. There's a million other things that all of us could be thinking about, but we're choosing to be here now. And that is a practice. It doesn't come with a pill. You can't get a subscription for it. It comes with dedication and practice to wanting to be here in this moment, whether it's good or bad. And I think everybody can agree that being a business owner comes with a lot of good and a lot of bad. And being aware of, oh, I'm really good at this. This is my, my zone of genius. This is where I can roll out of bed and do it, right? That's where we want our businesses to be, in the stuff that comes naturally, that we just automatically do, so that I can pay other attention to things that I need to work on. And I'm constantly shifting awareness. The tip that I have about figuring out, like, how do you do it, would be prioritizing, because every day your needs will shift. So once we get awareness of, okay, here's the things on my calendar today, here's how I feel. I'm a chronic. So I always have something not right. Like feeling good is really relative. So based on that information every day, I have to make adjustments. So that requires me to prioritize. And I use I have to look at it because I always screw it up. The do, dump, delay, or delegate. I want to do it all. And I think we all agree that when you're first starting out, you can't, like, literally, your words will not form the word no. You just want to say yes to everyone. Yes, yes. But ultimately understanding, like, what is it important for me to hold on to and what can I let go of? And to me, again, that comes from checking in. How do I feel about this? You know, those meetings you don't want to go to. Like Emily said, our body and our mind is giving us signs and symptoms. If we observe them and we listen, then we can do something productive. If we ignore them and don't, extra hard work getting to where we wanted to go in the first place. Prioritize.
I really like the what you said. I'm gonna call it the quadruple D's.
Yeah. 40s.
Yeah. I really like what you said about that. I tend to make myself lists usually for the week. And the night before I'll take, again, to what you were saying, I'll pick something like this is my priority for tomorrow, right? Like I might not get through all of this, but I'm gonna have like this is gonna be my main priority for tomorrow. So that's something that I do as like a weekly / daily practice. And again, like back to my people, my circle, I have an amazing group of girlfriends. Barb, you had mentioned Marco Polo last time we connected, and we use Marco Polo and we go in every day and we share daily gratitude. So it's like this circle, like it's like you're pouring out your gratitude and then you're getting everybody else's gratitude. And it also helps us stay connected too, because we're checking in along the way also, and you listen to it at your convenience. So like that's something that we literally do every day. If we miss a day, it's very weird and you feel very thrown off, but it's a great way to kind of like start my day sometimes. And I try to pick at least one thing every day that I do that is like for me. And sometimes it can be as simple as like, I'm going to cook in the kitchen for as long as I want and make a huge mess and not care about it. Like whatever it is, it's just one thing a day that's just for me.
Well, I love this, and I love the conversation. I love the do, dump, delay, delegate. Yeah. And the other thing was we're talking about choices and we talked about gratitude, because when you are grateful, it really expands. It is, I heard somebody talk about when you're really positive and you're grateful, you can't let any of that negativity get into the cracks or bumps. You're just staying positive and focused. Yes, negative things happen, but it's like, how can you look at it from a different angle? We, talked about choices. Choices are sometimes a little bit difficult as to, well, what should I be doing next? Talk to me a little bit about choices. How do you prioritize what you need to do to be able to take care of that? Ebony, for you to take care of the one thing you want to do for yourself, how do you do that prioritization?
um, I don't know. I appreciate the question. I'm like, I don't know. It's a really good question because I feel like I just kind of do it. I do it because I guess I'm in tune, right? Like I notice if I'm like, what is wrong with me? Oh, I've been sitting at this laptop all day. Or like if my partner asks me for something and I snap at him, I'm like, oh, okay. I need to make sure that I'm prioritizing myself. So I guess it goes back to that mindfulness and being present. Sometimes it's a gift and a curse to be like very in tune with yourself because you're like constantly checking in. But I think that really is what helps me to be able to recognize like, oh snap, I did not take any time for me today, and I need to remedy that.
I always say with awareness comes great responsibility,
Mhm.
because now I know, now either I do something about it or I just ignore what I just told myself I need. So it's a catch-22. And while I'm speaking, I'll just jump in. I'm sorry to cut. I don't know. I'm speaking next. I have the talking stick. Um, Values, like understanding what it is that is most important to me, right? Is it money? Is it people pleasing? Like whatever it is it wearing yellow? Whatever is important to me, I have to remind myself of those values and being able to go back to them and remind myself every day. Remember, we talked about this before, right? We already talked about this. We said we really thought that calmness and kindness and gratitude was the most important things we were doing. So I have a decision to make. Do I make the decision that allows me to stay in alignment, like Ebony said? If I'm in tune, boom, I know automatically what I need to do. It may be difficult, but I still know what I need to do and I can work around the difficulty. But if I am making decisions out of alignment, they're not going to work. It's going to be a struggle. The universe is going to tell me. But if I don't accept that I'm out of alignment, following a different value, not it, it just doesn't feel right. So I definitely echo Ebony's, like, be in alignment, stay in tune so that you know when you're out of whack, when you're pursuing something that doesn't work for you. You're doing your own thing. Like, you decided to do this because you didn't want anybody else to tell you how it needed to be done. So make sure that you're not building something that's not sustainable. Sustainable. We can do anything for short periods of time, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing a 21-day cleanse. Oh my God, I'm on day 3 and I just can't wait for it to be over, but I can do it. I can do it. Day 3, I can do it, right? But I'm also going to stumble, but still I'm forcing myself towards the goal I want, one step at a time, by staying on the right path. Alignment.
I think clarity has to come into that conversation as well too. Like, to be in alignment, you have to know what you're working towards. And I was in a networking group this morning, and I was talking with a business owner afterwards, and we were talking about how this other business owner was like, I think I'm going to bring in this another line of business because I'm asked about this all the time. And the group was going back and forth with him saying, is this something that you want to do? Do you have experience? Does your current staff want to do it too? And he owns a business where his majority of his staff are males. And he was thinking about adding in, house cleaning. And the question was, okay, would you feel comfortable as a woman? There's 2 other women in the group with us. Would you feel comfortable if 3 guys showed up to clean your house? And I think part of that is like the norms and everything. But we were getting at the point of like, is the idea fairy taking over? Are you losing sight of your goals? Is the idea fairy coming in and saying, like, let's do this and let's do that, where you have to have that alignment and running through those questions and saying, does this help my goal? Am I excited about this? Is this an opportunity where, like, I can't wait to show up and, like, I'm here right now. I'm so excited to be here. If I wasn't excited, I would have said, sorry guys, not doing it, can't be there today. But trying to ask yourself, is this something that lights me up? Does this align in my goals? Would I feel like I'm wasting my time, or am I going to be like drudging into that conversation or whatever it is? So trying to block out the idea fairy of like, I've got to do this and I've got to do more, and getting really clear on what exactly is my goal versus adding more things that are just going to stretch you thin, but it all has to be in alignment.
Yeah. I love it because, one of the things a lot of times I talk about was that we're in the age of alignment. During COVID, everybody stayed home and they were taking a look at what was really valuable to them. What was their purpose and what were they feeling? And then they walked back into work and it was like, oh, wait a second, those values and that purpose and that mission on the wall is not the same as what I got. And, there was the exit, from the great, leaving our jobs to start doing something else because we recognized we weren't in alignment. And Allison, as you're talking, I'm going through a detox program too, and I'm in my 3rd day, so, but one of the things I wanted that brought up to me is that, yes, we set intentions, we staying focused, we're trying to listen to ourselves, but every so often we go off the wagon. And what's
Every
it
so
like?
often.
Right. I know, I know, I know. I'm trying to stay
Good for
steadfast,
you. Good for you.
you know, but but what happens? What do we need to do to get ourselves back on track and remaining on focus on what's really important to us? You talked about the values. We talked about the purpose. We talked about listening to ourselves. So what's it like to end up recognizing that you made an oops and now you need to get back?
To make an oops, to be present in the oops. That was a bad decision. And reflecting, like learning from all of the mistakes. My thing lately for myself has been be right where you are. If I'm upset about something, again, I'm upset for good reason. My heart and my mind, my body aren't, all in agreement. When you made the right decision, right? Like it's like, just like, who just said it? Emily? You feel it. Like it just, you feel good. Ebony said it, when you're in alignment, when you have that group around you supporting you, that I think those are very, very supportive, and that I've completely forgot what I was saying. So I'm going to let that go. Just leave it right there. It happens all the time.
Well, you were talking, which I think is so true, about being in that oops.
Oh, yes. Like if an emotion lasts what, like a couple seconds, if you just let yourself be mad, or you let yourself be frustrated, or you let yourself be angry, right? And then, whoo, let her out the door. Like be nice to her. She was angry for a reason. In my mind, my kind kindergartner teacher caretaker is Miss Honey from Matilda. And I talk about this all the time. When I'm having a rough time, I turn her on and she goes, "Oh, honey, it's okay. You're all right. Yeah, you're okay." And then you give yourself a little pat on the back and you say, all right, how do I want to proceed? What is the next step that does feel right? I'm a crumbler, right? I went to therapy at a young age because I cried too much, self-designated. And I realized it was because I was feeling things I wasn't letting myself feel.
Mhm.
And until, I let it's okay. It's okay, honey.
Mhm.
You are okay. So being able to not ignore or tune it out, but just say, hey, all right, I see you self-doubt. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Ambition. Here, come on in, sit down. Befriending whatever it is that we're sensing, instead of being so focused on the goal that we're not, giving any kind of, in being in tune. Thank you for helping me gather my thought.
Hey, I'm trying to remain present and listening.
Ah,
Somebody is.
love
Oh,
it.
goodness.
For me, I feel like it's a balance. It's always a balancing act, right? It's balancing grace and accountability. Like when are we giving ourselves grace and when are we holding ourselves accountable, and what that looks like. And everything that you were just saying is like so true. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about another thing I do for my health is therapy, right? And one of the therapies I do is internal family systems. So that's everything you're saying is resonating with me, like all those different parts of ourselves and being in tune and knowing when to like, okay, you know what? I set that goal. I didn't meet it. All right, we're going to push it back a week. This is what I'm going to do differently to make sure I meet it this time. And then also taking a couple of extra minutes to recognize, and this is something I just did recently, like, wait a minute, I do this often. I kind of set myself up for the okie doke in this area pretty often. So what is that about? And really like taking some time with myself to kind of dig into it and see like what is making me repeat that same pattern in that area over and over again. So I guess in that instance of before I was able to give myself that grace, I had to actually like pause and do a check-in and have some accountability for like, whoa, this is a pattern. And I don't love the way I feel when I'm spinning on this hamster wheel. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do differently going forward. So just that balance. And again, the check-ins.
For me, and this like goes right off of what Ebony was saying, it's the reminding ourselves that like failures or slip ups are just learning opportunities. And it's so hard when you're in that moment of like, oh man, like I should have thought about that before I sent that email. Did that twice yesterday. Or like, oh man, I should have proofread something. Or that was, I know I didn't need to do this or add the service or whatever it is. But giving that, letting that be feedback of saying, okay, I can remember this. And this is something that I'm doing going forward. And then also making sure that the goals are specific. So maybe Ebony said, like, I wanted to have this done by last Monday. And she didn't take into account that, the holidays, that's going to throw things off. Or she wasn't clear enough with the processes that she needed to have in place to be able to get it done. Where we're not clear enough with the path in order for us to get there, which is what kind of can put us on that track of like, now I feel like a failure. I feel upset. I'm angry with myself rather than saying, okay, how can I shift this from going forward? And something that I've always learned from business coaching with Wise and other business coaches that I used before I worked with Wise was they're there to help us learn from their mistakes. You know, I've learned so much from Barb, and not that Barb has made a ton of mistakes because Barb is an amazing person, but I've learned so much from Barb. I worked with Kelly. I learned so much from Kelly. And just to have that other person to be there and saying it's not an oops, it's like, okay, well, that's a learning experience. And here's how I handled that. And here's how this might help you learn from my mistake too along that line.
There's a lot of good things in the chat. And one of the things that, Ebony and what you reminded me of, it was taking a step back, and Allison and Emily talking about feeling that emotion. Because one of the things is we can have a relationship with that emotion. What do they need? What does it need from us? And what do we need from it? And really seeing it. And I love the failures, because we've all failed so many times. But Carolyn just put something in the chat about 90 seconds for an adrenaline rush, but you need to feel it in the moment before you try to fix it. And it reminds me this conversation, and I love this quote. It's from Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor, and he talked about, and I don't have the exact words, but he phrased that between a stimulus and a response is a space. And it's in that space because we're pausing. We're saying, oh, what learning is here? Or how do I need to react? What's really going on? Let me be with it. So it's like that pause before we step into things. So great conversation. And ladies on Zoom and on Facebook, if you have any questions you'd like to ask of this panel, please raise your hand, take yourself off mute. This is meant to be an open dialogue and conversation with each other and bouncing up ideas, because like Ebony says, we need our tribe. We need the people around us to really learn. Emily is going like, yes, we need to learn from all these people because we may have been through it before you do, but trust me, I'm still learning, so, and it's like every day. But does anybody have any questions that just burning at their heart to ask? Yes, Crystal?
Okay, so in the slowing down, which I don't know how to do yet, this is what I struggle with. Because I've only been in business just over a year, right? I don't want to turn down opportunities that are in alignment, but then when you already have so much on your plate, how do you manage juggling that or suggesting, hey, this sounds like a great idea, but can we do this 6 months down the road? Or, because sometimes the opportunity, the timing is right and you can't wait 6 months, right? So how do you three juggle deciding, okay, this is in alignment with my values, but I've also got XYZ on my plate this week. I can't do this collaboration, partnership, whatever it is this month. How can we move forward? How would you three handle that?
I'll start being honest. I mean, I've been asked to be on, like, for one example, a board position. They want me to be the president of a board. And I said, right now, like, I love this organization and I will go and I want to be active and I'm on the board already. I don't think I can dedicate the time and the energy that I want to be able to do this to the best of my ability. And maybe if it's like a business opportunity too for you, Crystal, of just saying like, I want to be level with you right now. I've got a lot on my plate, but like, this is something I'm excited about. Is this something that's flexible? And we could talk about this, grab coffee again in a month and kind of see where this can fit, or can we scale this back to a project that might be even a little bit more manageable with everything else we have going on? People want honesty. It's easier for you to say like, look, I've got a lot right now. I want to be involved and I want to do this, but how can we make this so that you're still able to give your all without burning the candle at both ends?
Okay, I like that.
And hopefully that relationship is exactly that, a relationship that will build. So I've adopted unfortunately, I'm not able to do that, but I can do this, right? I can do the next day. I can do the day before. I can do next week. But again, it comes from your awareness of what is my priority, right? If, Good Morning America calls me tomorrow and I already have an appointment with Barb.
I'm sorry, Barb.
I'm like, good morning. Yeah.
But it's so easy because I know my priorities. I have a relationship with Barb. I understand if I go to my business coach and say, I'm going to be on Good Morning America, she's going to be like, all right. Like when we know what we want, we will figure out a way to get it. And that's with our business, that's with our partners, that's, with the community. Like if we do and embody what we're trying to do for others because we share those values, the decisions become easier.
Yeah. And I echo that. And I would add, I don't know what your business is, but depending on what your business is and what relationships you might have with other people that do similar or the same work, it might be an opportunity in that way too, right? To be able to connect them to someone else. And then you're kind of like, you've got a twofold relationship. And now that person, when they have some overflow, you're going to be somebody that they think of. But I saw you like, no, that's not a thing. But
I'm an herbalist,
right?
Yeah, I'm a herbalist and food gardener. And so I have some people that do similar things that I have recommended them for projects, but I haven't found anyone that does what I do yet. It's just indirect stuff. So, but I do agree. And I really like that because Allison can vouch, like I'm all about building community and relationships. And so that's what's important to me. And that's why I struggle with it, because I don't want to risk losing new relationships that haven't necessarily been built yet, if that makes sense.
Total sense. And I think they'll respect you that much more I think it was Emily that was speaking to like the honesty, and that's part of forming the relationships, right? Is like that transparency and just like being authentically you. Like, I love community and I'd love to help you. And this is when and how I can.
No problem being blunt and honest. Check.
Yeah.
I think like that brings up the important part of like having the community of people, like in creating those genuine connections too, where they're going to be able to come back to you and say like, I completely understand, because you've been able to express like, I'm so interested and I'm interested in what you do. And I'm interested in you as a person, not just in the money side of things or the work side of things, but being able to stay connected to that person in other ways, whether it's sending an email to say, hey, I was thinking about you today. Hope you're having a good day. Happy New Year. Like that stuff resonates with people, and maybe it's not a good fit or you don't have the time right now, but they remember that. Like Ebony said, like people remember that there is that reciprocity there.
Thank you.
People don't always remember what you do, but they remember how you feel. You made them feel.
Maya Angelou.
Yes, I know. I know.
Yes.
All right. One of the things, ladies, we've got this amazing power. It's like when we got these things posted on social media going, yes, it truly is a power hour because it's got powerful women and you all are powerful women. So please take advantage of this. Is there a burning question, something that you would like to ask them? Because this is about you. And Allison is eagerly awaiting
I've
for the
got a
question.
question. I know, and I appreciate you guys taking the time right now. I'm actually just now beginning my own endeavor in opening a business. So I'm really, really excited. For the last month, I've just been ingesting everything possible from AI apps to 30-minute, job trend phone calls, everything. And I do understand, trying to decipher understanding what's going to work for me now and what's kind of not. And I've kind of equated it to almost like plumbing, right?
Mhm.
It's right now I'm the spigot and everything else is a pipe. And if I overload that pipe, I'm going to pop my pipes way too quick. Right. So I got to kind of decide right now, are they a pipe or are they a spigot too? And I can come back to a spigot. And just like you guys were saying, and warming up that, communication, keeping that's kind of like, dripping that faucet just a little bit. Like, hey, I
Love
need this.
this
And for right
analogy.
now, my biggest questions are what are the lessons that you've had in your first year that I can take for myself? Because I everybody is trying to learn definitely, but learning from our mistakes is definitely the biggest lesson. And I know I'm a huge advocate of learning from my own mistakes. And that's what that's my question is, in your first years, what are the biggest mistakes that you made that were repairable that are? Because, like I'm saying, thinking of it as a plumber, I don't want to overload my pipes, but there are plenty of spigots out there, and I want to be able to bridge those gaps without having all these extra breaks and stuff.
I think for me, the thing that I did that I didn't realize at the time, but reflectively, I think I experienced burnout. I was very fortunate and I got a contract just a few months after my business started, and it was a good contract. And so I was like hyper focused on that contract, and I kind of stopped doing like networking. And then like my social media posts got less. And I was like hyper focused on that contract. And then I got notified, okay, funding's running out. So this isn't going to be able to, we're not going to be able to keep going with that. And because burnt out wasn't the right word, I hyper focused. So because I had hyper focused
Yeah.
so much on that contract, I then was like, okay, now I have to like kick myself back in gear. Like I didn't keep my business going. It was almost like I was working for someone else for that
Exactly.
contract, and I didn't keep everything going. So I didn't have systems in place for myself to
Okay.
be able to operate and function. That would definitely be my reflective. I could have done better. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just going to tail on what Ebony just stated. I think that there's a balance between working in your business and on your business,
Right.
because you need to be working in and with that customer, but at the same time, you need to be working on that business to be able to continue generating and being out there. And it's again going back to the balance of that hustle, the hustle that we're in.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would,
Christine,
oh, sorry,
I
Barb.
just want to say thank you for the question, because I think it's a great question. So just want to say thank you. Emily, go ahead.
One thing that I did and one thing that I wish I did. So the one thing I did was I had one offer and I was like, I'm going to do this really, really well. I'm going to be really good at it. And I'm
Right.
going to be able to serve the people that I want to. So like for me, that was just starting with only doing one-on-one programming, only working with my clients one-on-one to help them reach their goals. I wasn't doing classes. I wasn't doing corporate seminars or anything like that, which I think that helped me to stay focused on what that goal was, is to pour my energy on that one offer, but be able to have the boundaries around, you can't just be working with one client, like Ebony said, like you have to be able to do all the things. And then what I wish that I really focused on in that first year was the networking piece. I was in business for 4 years before I actually started doing physical networking like this. I was
Right.
working with a business coach. He was another dietitian who was like, you don't need to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You just have to build your online presence. And, you know, it was great. And right, Allison's like, what? You know, you just have to build your online presence, and it worked. But I started meeting people in that 4th year when I was full-time in my business, and they're like, oh, you must have just started. And I was like, no, I've been around since for 4 years. And nobody knew about me because I wasn't building those relationships. I wasn't building those connections. I was, you know, social media could be gone tomorrow. They're talking about TikTok being gone in 11 days. If that's all of our business is built off, I could have lost my business. But
Right.
because I've done things like this and I'm part of networking groups and I put myself out there, that's me setting myself up for the future. So I wish that I did that back in 2019.
Yeah.
Right. And I kind of actually I just recently completed my bachelor's in healthcare management, and I just turned 40, right? So I'm kind of doing things a little bit backwards, but starting all over, right? And being purposeful. And just like everybody getting divorced, right? And restarting our new chapters, that's also something that I'm kind of teeter-tottering on. I've done my education, I've done credentials and everything under my married name, but we've honestly been separated for about 10 years now.
Mhm.
And it's just all the legalities that made it difficult, but we have separate lives, left it separate, and our kids are just getting older. We had 4. So now that I'm at this point, the networking is definitely, I didn't do social media as an individual, I didn't. So understanding now that that's so important and networking, wanting to establish those great connections, and harnessing all of it, as growing opportunities.
Mhm.
I want to optimize, overall, increasing mental health awareness so that everybody can start enhancing their abilities. Everybody gets stuck, right? And like everybody with our mindfulness, we're all in a mental health opportunity to be able to just improve society. We're all maternalistic, and that's what helps a lot of it. So I definitely want to join that, and I'm looking to increase those opportunities. And I think these opportunities, like today's Power Hour, is helping with that networking. But networking is one that I'm hearing, and establishing systems has been something else. Knowing when you need to decipher what's working for you and what's not, because it
Mhm.
could be a great idea, but then you need to not have it right now. Take it as a connection and use it later.
That was my biggest mistake, Christina, was that I put too much energy into the things that weren't working and the no's and the clients who never showed up. I was wasting so much energy focused on what I wasn't doing right that I, didn't realize I was doing all this stuff right over here. Why am I not paying attention to this?
Right.
And so that's my energy waster, was trying to chase down families and friends that were not interested in what I was doing, that they loved
Yeah.
me and they were super excited for me, but they were not interested in giving me their money for my services. And once I let all of that go, and it was, the same time that I started networking and starting, doing things with other solo female entrepreneurs, that really was like, oh, I have a lot of skills. Like I can do things.
I didn't know that was an option on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Female started companies,
Yeah.
female owner company. I was like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So much
Yeah.
opportunity.
Huge. Huge.
And this call came together today because we're all in each other's networks. We were all in the business plan intensive together.
Mhm.
That's how I know these 2 women, is because of the business plan. Like that just like shows how important networking is.
Yes. Yes.
That's amazing.
It kind of
Thank you,
goes,
ladies.
it goes back to, oh, thank you, Christina. It goes
Shanae
back
too.
to,
Shanae's here. She was in our class.
Yeah, she was.
yeah, she
Girl.
was.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Aw.
It was going back to Allison, what you talked about initially about best class ever. Yes, it was good. It was great. It was a great ending when we ended up having the discussions on your pitches and everything like that. But one of the things that as Emily was talking about, the networking and the people, this goes back to one of the things that you ended up talking, Allison, about relationships and Ebony creating those tribes. You know, you can't do this on your own. So yes, tapping into those people it's amazing. I remember, Emily, as you were talking about just on being on social media, when I first exited my corporate career, I had a coach and she told me I just need to post 6 to 7 times a week on social media. And I'm going like, just let me slip my wrists. So you've got to find the thing that's going to work for you. It's, you know, that's the way to do it. But we're wrapping up here. We're at 8 minutes of the hour. And what I'm wondering is, ladies, can you put your email address in the chat in case people would like to reach out to you? Is something that you said that they'd like to, again, build the network, build the relationship, and maybe ask you another question that they weren't too sure how to ask, but you know, it's please reach out, and that's what we're all about. That's what we're here to do, is to support women on their journeys. And I just want to end up saying to if you need to connect with the Y Center, it's ycenter.org. Let's see, we got a lot of good stuff going in here. Yes, LinkedIn. Yeah, all these folks are, Carolyn's talking in the Zoom panel, are from 3 BP. Oh, and also from BPI in here. Yes, yes.
Awesome.
So BPI has been fun, and we're going to be doing another one, our 9th cohort here shortly. So, ladies, any last words as we've got a few minutes left? Words of wisdom.
Messy's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like one failure is not the end of your whole business.
Yeah.
Fail
I would
repeatedly.
say, I would say don't take it personal, which is so interesting. And I feel like the hardest thing, because like I started this because it's personal, right? But don't take it personal, and trust the process, right? Like you are gonna find your people and your people are gonna find you. Like you really don't want somebody that doesn't want you. Like you don't want to work with someone under those circumstances. So
100%.
yeah, right? Like trust the no's are making room for the future yeses.
Mm-hmm.
Hi guys, this was great. This is Shanrika McLean. I'm not on camera, but I just needed to join you guys. But I say, trust the process and live in your purpose. And you can't be anybody other than the person that God has made you. You can't be anybody else. And be sure to trust the energy. It never lies.
Yeah.
Henrika, thank you for being here. Thank you for
You guys
bringing
are
the energy.
amazing.
Oh,
I was gonna say, ask for help. Like that's a huge thing. Like there are so many resources. Ask for help. Ask us. Ask Wise. And then when you're meeting people in your network, I love to end conversations. How can I help you? Is there anyone you're looking to be connected with? And even if like I don't have anyone in their network at all, like that they're looking for, even just being able to say like, if you need a new doctor, I can tell you who to go to or anything like that. But come with the giving hand and always ask for help because you are not alone.
Yeah.
100%.
Anything else, ladies? Any final words? Okay. Well, I want to just say thank you for our first Power Hour of the year, which was really a great session, great panel, great learning, great. And what was really important about it was the dialogue that went on. So we were really able to bring it all together. You guys are all amazing. So thank you for doing what you do. And stay tuned for next month. We have another Power Hour on the plate. So Be well. Please reach out to the Wise Center if you need anything. We will be doing another APBI here, I think, come April. So if you're needing to start thinking about putting that plan together for that business, we're here to support you. And also we've got building blocks and Wise orientation. And so please, please read your newsletter. A lot of good things going on there. All right, ladies, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.